3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to the next module. This is telemetry feedback. We're going to be diving into the importance of content, creating content, and how to get your message out in front of people. At this point, as we go through the launch code path, remember to be sticking to the code. We want to be at a point where you are now sending your friend requests, right? You're building your audience. You're getting the right people to connect with you. So as we go into this part, what we're going to walk through is we're going to learn how to effectively write copy, how to actually create content that's going to attract people into your world, the principles of what makes someone want to work with you through your content, which might seem like a crazy thing, right? You're putting these messages out into the world, they want to connect with you and reach out to you. And we're going to talk about essentially the best practices to do this in today's world. So Alex, let's dive into telemetry feedback.
All right, so the mission over the course of this module is to plan and execute a 14-day content challenge. And why 14 days? We'll talk about that as we go through this. The whole purpose of this is ultimately to get people feeling comfortable enough to reach out to you. That's the purpose of content, period. It's to get people to reach out to you. There are a few different things that promote that or that bring that about. So, and we'll dive in depth into each of these and how to make sure that you're doing the right things that lead to people reaching out to you. But we want to develop familiarity, trust, likability, and then you want to establish yourself as an authority too, so that you can create opportunities for relationships. And really all of this revolves around the relationships of people that you will be able to help who will want to pay you for your help.
If you're watching this, we put 14-day content challenge as a spark. So it's a catalyst to get you going. And you're going to hear Alex and I talk about this over and over and over again, that this is something that almost never stops in your business. Alex and I continue to do this today. We don't do it in the form of 14-day content challenges at this point, but we have each gone through 14 to 30-day content challenges to get your message out, to build momentum into what you're doing as you're sending these friend requests. So you're going to hear us that this is not a great, you did your 14-day content challenge and you're done and you should have a full business, right? This is the catalyst. So if you get stuck, you can always redo something like a 14-day content challenge to get you to see the importance of consistently showing up in front of your audience as you're building it. So I just think it's really important, Alex. I know we're going to talk about it a lot. It's going to come up over and over again. Can't emphasize enough that if after 14 days, you're like, guys, I haven't had someone reach out to me. Like my business isn't built yet. What's going on? That is normal, as we're going to talk about later in this module, that it's just the start, right? This is the start, the catalyst. This is the work that is required to constantly be doing this in order to get where you want to go.
Yes. And if you're someone who's thinking, oh no, but I have a rule where I don't get on social media on the weekend. And I don't know, like, can I skip a weekend and just do 14 weekday, like imperfect action, do whatever fits, just do it. Okay. Just do it. It's about consistency and committing to something and doing something so that you can learn the lessons that you need to over the next 14 days or more as you're continuing to do this. And what Will said is so key. This is just a spark, and this will create for you momentum that you will then keep replicating throughout the rest of your business's existence. We're setting up a framework for how to create content the right way with the right end goal in mind, which is to create opportunities for relationships. Nobody will pay you if they don't first that you exist, and second, if they don't first trust you. Just like no one's going to be getting married to you unless they have either a gun to their head or they're like getting paid from a TV show. No one's going to marry you unless they
we know how well those work out.
I mean, all the bachelors and bachelorettes ended in happy marriages, right?
Yeah. For like 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. But the whole goal of this is to create relationships so that you can serve people at a level that others aren't willing to or able to. Okay. We will talk about the right way to do this. So first, I want to talk about the wrong way to do this. And a lot of people do it this way. It's the natural way that we feel like it should be done for some reason, where you create an offer around an idea that you have. And then what do people do, Will, when they're like, guys, I have this idea?
They create content that, whether consciously or subconsciously, has a tone of, I am creating this content for a reason to hopefully get you to buy something from me that I already have to sell. I don't even know how to explain it in detail other than the fact that you can just tell. It's like that person who comes up to you and, hey, can I ask you a question? And you're like, okay. And that's like 19 questions about their business and their business idea. And then it's like, hey, do you think you want to buy my thing? And you're like, I didn't realize that was what I was signing up for. So the wrong way to go is have an idea and then try to create content that forces that idea onto people. And then Alex, the last part of this is
nothing happens. And it's like, oh my goodness, I only sold 1 or 2 guys. Why isn't this working? I don't think my idea is good, or I just don't know how to do this, or my price is wrong, or people is just too hard. I got to turn on paid ads, guys. I got to turn on some ads, and it doesn't work that way. Okay.
Very rarely.
The interesting thing is you might have some initial success with this, where like you might sell 1 or 2 things because maybe your idea is good enough, or people are just in pain enough and it happens to be the right time. And like you happen to get 1 or 2 sales. But what we're telling you is this way is not a consistent way to build real cash flow in a business and to base an online business around a product. Okay. This is not how we've done it. It is never how our clients are taught to do it.
I would say the real big lesson here to me is that it's really hard to build a community around your product or service. A community comes from, as we're going to dive into this, feeling understood. And it's really hard to do that when you have an agenda already, because it's harder to listen when you already want them to have specific answers, right? Like you're hoping that they have specific answers so you can like feed your content into their beliefs, and then it just fits. But that's just not how it tends to work very often, right? And so we're going to go through the better way here, Alex, which starts with the hypothesis that we come up from our North Star research.
Yeah. And this is, a lot of people are like, oh, but I need a big audience for all this stuff. This is how you do this without a big audience, without coming in being the world's foremost leading authority on this stuff. This is exactly how Will and I do it. This is why we can have a business that supports both of us very comfortably with an audience of 2,500 people, which is really small in most marketers' minds, or for most online businesses. But it's because of how we approach content and selling in this way. Okay. So the first step is we're going to go back to our North Star research and think about who is it that I want to help, and what are their problems, what are their pains, and what are their desires. And we're going to create a hypothesis from this, right? We're saying we think that this is the group that we want to help. We think that this is the problem that they have based off what they've told us. And we think that these are their pains or desires. And now we're going to start applying that through our content to start testing. Am I right? And not even just am I right, but will people resonate with this? And can I create relationships of trust based on that hypothesis? So Will, when somebody is taking their North Star research, like, are they just supposed to verbatim use words? Like, how do you see them building that into their content, building this hypothesis that they're creating? Yeah,
we're going to talk about it. So we're going to, as you've gathered your 30 content prompts, right, we're going to actually take those because we've done our research, right? So a lot of that is either both from the passive research that you did and the active research that you've done, taking those common concerns that you have and extrapolating what you think are the big things that are really causing pain for this group of people, or problems, or what they're excited about, things that we can talk about that unites this group of people. And I think it's really important here that we give you an example. If we go back a couple slides, Alex, to the wrong way, real quick, just for a second, I think our friend Liz would be okay with this, that we share the story with you guys. But here's an example of how this doesn't work well. Is our friend Liz, our client Liz, who worked with us, still works with us to this day. She originally wanted to sell a mountain biking injury support. She had a mountain bike injury support group, Facebook group, and she wanted to sell a how to fix your neck pain, an ebook, essentially. She wanted to sell an ebook about how to fix your neck pain. It might have even been a small course. I can't remember, to be honest, for $47, right? She wanted to sell that. She started making a bunch of content about neck pain, about shoulders, about movement, right? All this stuff. She goes to sell it and made one sale over like 5 to 6 months. One sale of $47. So what we did is we went through this process. We go through the right way. So this is exactly what happened to her. And then we said, okay, Liz, who's it you want to work with? She said, well, just want to work with all mountain bikers. Clearly that was too broad. We had to help her niche down. She said, I want to work with mountain biking women who want to stay healthy. Okay, great. So mountain biking women who do mountain biking. So she started a Facebook group, a new one, Mountain Biking Ladies, a group of women. She thought about what are the big problems that they face. She put a poll up, as we're going to dive into how to do that. A poll immediately, and was like, she only had her group of maybe 50 people, and like 10 responded or 12 responded. I don't remember the exact numbers. The majority of them said something about climbing up hills being a challenge, right? Nothing to do with injuries, nothing to do with pain, right? Just not feeling confident getting up the hill. What did Liz do? She started making content about how to get up the hill more, right? How to get up the hill, and talking about her struggles in her own life of getting up the hill herself. As we go into this, we'll just let you know Liz now is making $1,000 a month from her group, on the verge of crossing 5 figures, if not yet already, from this Facebook group that only recently crossed 1,000 members. And so when you do this right, the results will come, but it was because we did it the right way. So Alex, that's how we come up with like, how do you create content, right? How do we do this to build trust and familiarity? We're gonna dive into some of the more secret stuff of that. And then Alex, we've got to decide that step of is it actually resonating with people? Yes or no?
Yep. And this isn't a measure of, are people watching my content? Are people liking my content? It's not, again, we don't want you to think good or bad. We just want to look at how are people responding? Are people reaching out to you? And we'll talk about this in depth. The whole goal of content is to really see, will people reach out to me either through comments or through Facebook Messenger? Then we get to say, cool, people are reaching out to me. This is resonating with people. We'll look at how we decide that. Then we prepare to do what we say is serve the one. And this is something that we were really taught at a high level by our mentor, Greg Todd, in focusing on making sure that you can help one person really, really well. And we'll look at in the next module, how are we going to create an offer for that person? Or maybe it's a small group of people. But ultimately, we're going to start with serving a small group of people or one person to be able to make sure that what we do works and give ourselves confidence, as well as the people who will ultimately buy from us. And really, this is why we create content. To test, are these the pain points that people really have? Is this the problem that I should really be helping them with? And as they start to reach out to me, does this feel like something that they like? Is this resonating with them? Okay. And we'll look at specific metrics of each of these. Okay. This is what we're going to focus on in this module right here, creating content and analyzing how it works. And we want to remind you that this is an infinite loop. It's not like we do this for these 14 days and then we're just totally done. This is actually a process that goes on over and over and over in your business. That's why this module is so important. It's never going to end. I'm sorry, but you're always going, as long as you want to stay in business, you're going to have to create content. Whether that's paid advertising or organic marketing, you're going to have to create content for people that resonates with them. And so we're going to learn that now. We're going to show you what resonates with people and help you decide what to put in your content to make sure that you're resonating with them, and teach you how to keep evaluating this over and over. Will and I just did another one of these types of posts today, actually. Will did. We put out a questionnaire to people and said, hey, will you help us out? And we're gathering feedback from people. 2 years into it, we're still doing this all the time to hone in our content. Okay. So that is the overall strategy. We're just seeing your content as an experimental toolkit. And then it's not right or wrong. It's literally just like, hey, did that get people to resonate with it or not? Like, do we need to tweak it or not? Producing content online, but the whole purpose is we do it consistently. We use what we call hooks and stories, which we'll get into. We get attention with people and then we hold their attention. It's the best way to build trust with your audience and position yourself as an authority. The best way to do it is not just to put out exercise videos, I can tell you that, or just videos that purely just teach. Okay. Getting that trust and authority, though, is what increases the likelihood of you being able to sell it. It makes it a much easier process. Cool thing is, this is actually the first half of sales. It's just attracting someone to you and getting them to inquire. Cool thing is we're teaching you how to do what's ultimately inbound marketing, where you don't have to go out to cold people and make cold calls. They're going to come to you. So we're teaching you how, with the rules of the game that we've already talked about. How do we get people to reach out to us and tell us what they want help with, and tell us that, hey, I think I need your help. How do I work with you? Can you imagine what that's going to feel like? It's an amazing thing, but this is the overall strategy. Anything else here, Will, before we dive in? I think this is, yeah, buddy. Before we dive into talking about content that sells.
No, I think that's, I think you hit the nail on the head, and it's going to become even clearer as we dive into this next section.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in there. Get ready for some deep dive psychology into what tweaks should we be making in our content, and how do we just give ourselves permission to go out there and explore. We'll see you in the next one.